Welcome back to AM Northwest. You know, breathing is an essential part of living, obviously, but the science of breath is having a moment. Here to tell us more, we welcome back our health and fitness expert, Beth Oliver. Great to see you again. You look beautiful,
morning.
by the way.
Thank you.
So let's talk about breath and why it's important and why it's having a moment.
So it's really interesting because, of course, well, like you said, we've all been breathing since the day we were born. And for some of us in life, in some aspects of our life, we pay a lot of attention to it, like an athlete does, a singer pays a lot of attention how they use their breath. A voice actor would be using their breath in certain ways. But then when we're not doing those specific tasks, or if that's not something we do, we tend to just not think about it at all. And it's interesting because I think a lot of us intuitively know how important it is. We've probably all experienced those moments where we're just about to lose it and someone says, oh, just take a breath. And that's really literally what you need to do.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is the science that is coming out about breath now is really backing up, I guess, what we've known anecdotally for a long time. So there's just so much information available about how we can really, probably the biggest thing is control or influence our central nervous system. So if we can influence that, that's, we can influence everything. We can influence our core temperature, the way we react to stimulus, the way we
could possibly get road rage, calm yourself down.
All those things.
Yeah.
So it's really, really important. And even helping cleanse toxins from your body and things like that. So the more that we're starting to learn about it, the more we're starting to realize, well, it's something really important to pay attention to.
Well, I think breath tells a lot about how someone's feeling, physically and mentally, right?
Absolutely. So you could tell, for example, if you were walking through the green room, you would maybe be able to tell if somebody was very nervous because maybe they'd be having a little shallow breath kind of up in their chest and not able to have long sentences because their breath is too short and narrow.
Right.
Or if you see someone who's really sort of breathing slowly, deeply, that sends you a message that, oh, they're kind of calm, they're kind of in control.
Yeah.
So
very true.
Which is really interesting because we probably take a lot of cues from people without even really realizing it. So there are a lot of things that we can do to just bring our consciousness to our breath so that eventually it becomes something that we're using much more as a strategy, like a strategy to manage your emotions and things like that.
Well, it also explains too in the hospital when you undergo surgery or whatever, they have you do that breath meter.
They do,
to make sure that you can give out a full breath and take in a full breath.
Right, which is really important because if you can't, then you can't get rid of carbon dioxide and all those things start to become toxic for your body. Yeah,
sure, that makes sense. So you wanted to bring up something called 30 breaths.
So a lot of times people are like, I just don't have time to fuss around with that, or they may look up something on the internet and some of the breathing exercises you might come around are somewhat complicated. So what I encourage people to do is just start like with something really basic. So if in the morning before things get too crazy, you can just sit comfortably in a chair or on the floor if that's comfortable for you too, and just work up to 30 breaths. Now, it might seem kind of silly, but in the beginning, it might seem like too much. But just simply a full breath in through the nose, if that works for you. And then exhaling out. Ideally through the nose, but that might not be comfortable at first. So if not, you just out the mouth. And then I encourage people to even put their hands on their rib cage. And as you breathe in, allow the rib cage to expand. So that's just opening space. And then as you exhale, just feel how the ribs kind of soften.
Yeah.
So we're actually exercising the diaphragm a little bit, like letting things expand and contract.
Sure. But building up to 30 breaths.
Building up to 30 breaths where that's really comfortable for you.
And that helps you with your stamina during the day? How does that help you?
First of all, it helps you sort of set your central nervous system so that you're not in that fight or flight kind of thing.
Okay.
So a lot of times when we get up in the morning, especially if we've got kids to get off to school, we got to get to work, whatever your thing is, you just get caught up in the day. And the last thing you're thinking about is setting your central nervous
Yeah.
system.
Oh, sure.
So what that does is really down-regulates your central nervous system.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Box breathing.
So box breathing, sometimes called 4x4 breath, it's a little bit more intentional. So we're getting a little bit more sophisticated. So in this style of breathing, you breathe in through your nose for a count of 4. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you hold your inhalation or hold your breath for a count of 4. Then you slowly exhale for a count of 4. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then you hold the empty lung for a count of 4.
Oh.
And you work up to 4 minutes of that. So let's do a couple of those together. So inhale breath for 4. Hold for 4. Exhale breath 4. Hold the empty lung for 4. And again, breath in.
Yeah.
Hold. Breath out. And hold. And so that, again, is just a way to really fine-tune the central nervous system and also get you to focus on something. So if things are going chaotic, you were in a meeting, things got a little hot, and you go back to your office and you just, you know, it gives you, not only does it calm down your central nervous system, but it gives you something to think about.
Right.
And you know how that is, once you've calmed down, then things don't seem quite so crazy.
Right,
and,
right,
you know,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Or you go have a cigarette.
Or you could go have a
I'm
cigarette and a
joking.
ham.
I was totally joking. That would ruin your breathing. Okay, so we talked about one of the standing upright.
So then once you get your sense around how you can actually control your breath, then almost the next step is to apply it to movement so you can make movement even more effective. So let's just do a super simple example.
Okay.
So we can inhale and breathe up. Remember how we talked about letting the ribs expand. So as we inhale, the ribs kind of open, we gather in breath, and then as we exhale, come down through center. Really want to empty all the air out like you just practiced, and then come back to center. And again, breath in. Exhale, breath out. And so you can use your breath to help augment movement.
Right.
So you know, especially like you get up in the morning or you've been sitting at your desk all day and you're like, oh, I haven't done anything all day. And the last thing you feel like you want to do is move because you feel stiff. You do a couple of breaths like that, you'll actually get fluid moving through your body. That sends nutrients to your muscles, your joints, your tissue. And then if movement feels good, so then you're likely to move more. So it's just a way to start applying it to getting yourself to move and get up and get all your systems working.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Beth Oliver, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.